And now it's decision time. Howdy, Broncos country. Mace here in the Superdome after the Broncos preseason finale, a 28-19 win over the New Orleans Saints. But of course, that's not the story. The story is the roster cuts that loom in the next few days, the Broncos getting down to 53, and what we learned from this game. Actually, first we'll start with guys that we know are going to be here on the first team, and the first team offense, which stayed out a little longer than expected, stayed out long enough to finally get a touchdown, which, of course, it didn't get in San Francisco in the 3 drives that it had there a couple of weeks ago. Finally got that on its 3rd series today. As Sean Payton said, it wasn't in concrete that it was going to be 8 to 10 plays. And I think the best way you can describe the work for the first team offense in the preseason was a mixed bag. They finally got it going, and you liked what Bo Nix did under duress, climbing the pocket, stepping up. A very nice play stepping up under pressure to hit Tyler Bidet and keep a drive going. Nice work on 4th down to hit Courtland Sutton for 14 yards. And of course, an exquisite play fake boot that he hit Courtland Sutton moving left for 43 yards. So there were some good things there, but definitely some good and some bad. Still, you're pretty happy with how Bo Nix looked. Probably some reason to be concerned about the protection, and probably some reason to be concerned about the running game. Holes weren't there for R.J. Harveen with the first team running game today. 4 yards on 5 carries overall on the ground. The running game did not get going until the backups were in, and that goes to the next thing, the battle for backup running back. And the winner today probably was Audric Estime, who got into a rhythm, had his best work of the summer, and frankly, getting into a rhythm, getting those carries, it probably helped Audric Estime show what he can do best, show that power, and he agreed that getting the chance to get into a rhythm really allowed him to show what he could do.
Yeah, I feel like they kept me out there for a good amount of time, and that was definitely appreciated. I felt like I showed I can pass protect, catch the ball, and run the rock. And yeah, that felt good to be out there for a whole drive.
Of course, the Broncos did not have Jaleel McLaughlin here today. He was back in the Denver area waiting the birth of his baby. And so it was just Audric Estime, Blake Watson, and Tyler Bidet. Bad break for Blake Watson, of course, with the knee injury. We'll await the word on severity. Solid game for Tyler Bidet. And the fact that Bidet was out there with the ones early, we didn't see J.K. Dobbins as well. That probably, you'd think, bodes well for Tyler Bidet's chances of being on the 53, but we'll find out in the next few days. And finally, got to touch on Sam Ehlinger, who played the entire game after Bo Nix. Certainly that helped him find a nice rhythm. The question now, do the Broncos keep 3 quarterbacks on the 53? We've seen some quarterbacks get signed in recent days. Ehlinger has made nice progress since the Broncos signed him. He looks like he can function well in this system. Let me put to bed the notion that the Broncos should trade Jarrett Stidham because of Ehlinger. You don't want to do that. This team, they do believe they're a Super Bowl contender, and Super Bowl contenders ought not to trade backup quarterbacks who've been in the system for a couple of years. And as good as Jarrett Stidham has looked, he seems to have advanced to a point where if you had to ride Stidham for 4 games against a league average sample size of opponents, you ought to be able to go 2-2 with him, which is generally what you expect of a backup quarterback. But long term, maybe you turn the page with Ehlinger, keep him around, see where he goes. And certainly he showed some promise today, showed some moxie, and I thought showed some resolve and poise under pressure, which is what you want to see. So he felt good about the game. He feels good about his progress so far in Sean Payton's offense, and we'll see what happens. Contractually, there are reasons for the Broncos to keep him on the 53 and not pass him through the practice squad in terms of dead money it would create if they tried to put him to the practice squad and do the elevation game because there is guaranteed money involved with his contract. So that may come into play for a decision the Broncos make as well. Also, some other standouts. I'd be remiss not to mention Q Robinson, who had a strip sack fumble today, capping what's been a strong offseason and training camp for him. The Broncos really nicely going 5 deep at edge with Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Dondrea Tillman, Jonah Ellis, and Q Robinson. That's a strong group. Sai'Vion Jones, also a promising offseason and training camp, capping that with a sack today. So the Broncos pretty deep on the interior defensive line as well. Looks like George Paton found himself a couple of nice components there with those mid-round choices. So preseason is wrapped. Cuts will come down over the next 72 hours, and it's the worst time of the year on the NFL calendar. It's tough. If you're out there on social media, just be sensitive in terms of the comments you make. These are humans that you're talking about, and some of these guys will be going through some of the most difficult times of their professional lives. So anyway, that's it from the Superdome. We'll have plenty more to talk about, of course, on denversports.com. I'll be writing about it, and of course on Orange and Blue Today. We'll be talking about it at 5 p.m. Mountain Time on Monday with more, and I'll have more, of course, on the social channels and whatnot. So take care. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye from the Superdome.